Cool.
Hi, this is John Ryan with Team Handball News, and joining me on the line from Norway is Toma. I lost flat. Rimac. How close was I?
That was good.
All right. So this is we can call this maybe a little bit of an experimental podcast. We're going to do a preview of the upcoming World Championships, but we're going to have a little bit different perspective than your typical preview show, in that we are going to take a deep dive into the odds for the championship, and we're going to look at these games from a bettor's perspective. So it's a little bit different. We're still going to talk about who we think might win, but we're also going to have some discussion on what might be some good betting plays, or maybe some teams to stay away from. But anyway, Toma, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background with handball, and some of the things you do on the betting side of things.
Yeah, so hi, John. Thanks for having me, first of all. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I do have my own website with a couple of other guys from Norway. It's like an affiliate site where we do sports analysis in different kind of sports. So I'm the guy for the handball section.
All right.
And the weird thing is I haven't actually played a lot of handball in my old days, but I've always been a huge fan since Ivano Balic for Croatia. So it's in the late 90s when it all started. So
yeah. Well, it's not a requirement to be a player to be informed on the sport. And I've taken a look at your website, seen some of your tweets. I think you know what you're talking about. Maybe more than what I know and I used to play. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I operate the Team Handball News website, and I'm a former national team player for the U.S., so I'm really excited about the U.S. being in this tournament, and also lived in France for 5 years. So that's where I got some of my knowledge and experience from handball. But let's go ahead and delve right into it. Let's take a look at what our plan is. We're going to look at the preliminary round groups, have a few comments regarding, for instance, we're going to start out with groups A and B, and then we're going to look at main round group 1, which group A and B will combine to form. The top 3 teams from group A and the top 3 teams from group B will move on to the main round, and then in the main round, the top 2 teams will move on from the main round to the quarterfinals. So let's go ahead and start with Group A, and we've got Germany, Hungary, Cape Verde, and Uruguay coming in. And I'm going to see if this will. We're going to go ahead and share the screen. I'm not sure if this actually will record or not, but we're going to try and see if that will set up. So I don't know if this is recording or not, but let's go ahead and look at Group A here. What's your thoughts on Group A?
So we have a German team that are obviously still favorites, but they're still missing like 6-7 players, and mostly of them are in one of the biggest German teams in THW Kiel. So it's a team that hasn't the strength that they used to do the late couple of tournaments, but it's still a good team. But I think that Hungary can manage to beat Germany this time.
Well, do you think that's a value play to maybe look at Hungary beating Germany?
Yeah, I would say so. Hungary has a physical team, and I think they can manage to make it to a close match against Germany.
Yeah. Well, to win the group, Germany is at, and we're gonna use American odds and the European decimal for depending on your betting preference. Germany is minus 182, 1.55. Hungary is plus 125, 2.25. So you're thinking maybe Hungary might be worthwhile.
Yeah, I would say so. And yeah, and the two other teams, I mean, they don't have much to come with against strong teams like Germany and Hungary. But I still think Cape Verde will get the third place.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've seen Leandro Semedo play quite a bit this year for Lyon. He's their, I think he's their top player, and they surprised at the African Championships and did better than some other teams that are traditional African powers, if you will. So I think that they will also beat Uruguay. I did watch Germany and Austria twice this weekend, and boy, I know they're missing some of their top players, but I think one of the things that will help Germany is even though Peckler and Weinhold and Vinček aren't there, the guys underneath them, I mean, it's a drop off, but it's not. I don't think it's as super a drop off as some people think. And they sure showed it against Austria. I mean, they annihilated them yesterday.
I agree. And they actually seem to play a bit faster this time without all the defensive players like you said, Vinček, Peckler. So I actually think they have more offensive power this time. So it's, as you can see against Austria, they scored like 34 goals, I think it was this weekend. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Gislason has made out of this team.
Yeah, and maybe I'm reading too much into those last two games. I really like the way they play. I think Germany will win the group, and I think Hungary and Cape Verde will join them. Let's look a little bit now at Group B. And here we've got Spain as the overwhelming favorite. They're minus 2,000, 1.05. And then we've got three teams, Brazil, Tunisia, and Poland, all seen as battling, based on these odds, battling for second place. How do you see Group B unfolding? You think Spain gonna pretty much a lock to win it?
Yeah, I mean, Spain, I think it's going to be a walk in the park for them in the beginning. They won the European Championship last year, and also one of the favorites in my opinion. I think they will win all three matches and then fight against Germany and Hungary for the quarterfinal spot. So,
yeah. Who do you like to emerge as the second team in that group?
I mean, that's a tough one. I would actually say Brazil. It's an upcoming team with many interesting players. Many of them are playing in Europe. So a lot has happened actually on both sides, women and the men's side in Brazil the last couple of years.
I might have to think about this. Brazil at plus 1,400. 15 in the decimal format.
Yeah, it's a long shot, but yeah, I agree with you.
it might be interesting to see whether they can pull off the upset over Spain and take the group. Poland looked pretty good. They've got a young team, but they looked they had no problems with Turkey.
No, they didn't. I still think Tunisia playing in Africa and everything, without the crowd, but still, I think they have a good enough team to beat Poland. But still, they're missing some players as well. So it could be a match between Poland and Tunisia who will decide the third place, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. You wouldn't even shock me if there was a three-way tie between Brazil and Tunisia and coming down in Poland and coming down to group differential or goal differential, I should say. let's take a closer look at main group 1. And we've got the odds there. Spain as the big favorite at 1.3 and minus 335 in American betting format. Germany is 5. Hungary is 8. Brazil is 36. And what do you think there? Do you think Spain?
Yeah, I think Spain. They have a really strong team. They can do a lot of changes and still have a really good team on the court, which is a good thing for them. And Germany, I think it's hard to say because when you look at them against Austria, they look pretty sharp, but still it's Austria who is missing 2 of their best players this World Cup. So it's a bit hard to say where actually Germany stands, I would say.
Yeah.
But
according to the odds makers, they see Spain going through to the main round, and then that Germany-Hungary game in the preliminary round will be pretty important based on these odds, and going through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be a crucial match for both teams because Spain. I mean, if Spain beats the first team that they are playing in the main round, if it's Germany or Hungary, they can maybe rest a couple of players because they know they're through. So we will see, but it also depends who Spain wants to meet in the quarterfinals. But that's also an interesting thing.
That's true. We won't go that far ahead in terms of predicting what's going to happen. Let's go back. We've covered the first 2 groups. Let's take a look now at groups C and D. And here we go. We got Group C. We've got Croatia as the big favorite. They're at 1.15 or minus 670. And just for edification, the way that the American odds work, you got to lay $670 to win $100 if you think Croatia is going to win the group. Then we've got Qatar. They're at plus 400 or 5. Japan, a little bit more of an outsider. They're at 21 or plus 2,000. Then Angola is at 151 plus 15,000. Pretty hard to see Croatia losing any of these matches.
Yeah, I mean, last year they came second at the Euros. This time they have some injury problems. Karacic is doubtful, and same as the goalkeeper Marin Šego. So it's a couple of questions with 2 or 3 players, but still Croatia has a really strong team, and I see them as the biggest favorite in this group, as Qatar is also missing one of their best players in Youssef Ben Ali. So I think it's going to be an easy task for Croatia in the Group C.
Yeah, and Qatar has basically, they had their team with a lot of new citizens, if you will, but some of those guys are gone now, so it's not near as strong a team as they've had in the past. It's more of a Qatari team a little bit in that respect.
It's I would say a good mix this time, but still they have some players like Daniel Šarić, the goalkeeper, a really good goalkeeper that was playing for Barcelona for many years. So yeah, it's still a good mix, but it's an old team, I would say, and especially with some of the guys that were playing the World Cup in Qatar in 2015 it was. So, but still, it's a good team, and they should get on the second place, I would say.
Yeah. Japan is a little bit interesting. I know that they have been training hard, if you will. They got the Olympics coming up that
Yeah.
were delayed. A lot of times Asian teams, especially in Olympic years, overperform, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's a bit strange actually, but they have a great coach in Dagur Sigurdsson, who has been working with them for I think it's 2 years now. So yeah, their goal is to perform well at the Olympics in Tokyo, but this is their last session before that, and for them I hope they can make it to the second round, as they need a lot of improvement before the Olympics.
Yeah. And then Angola, always interesting, always seem to have a real athletic team. They surprised a little bit at the last
Yeah.
World Championships. Didn't do so well at the African Championships this past year. They're always a big question mark as far as how they will perform.
Yeah, it is the last two World Cups, they came second, last or 23rd, I think. So I don't think we should expect too much of them this time either. So
All right. Well, let's move to Group D.
Group D.
Group D, we got Denmark as a huge favorite. They're at 1.03 or minus 3,335. You thought Croatia was a favorite in their group. Denmark is a overwhelming favorite in this group. And then we have Argentina at 15 plus 1,400, Bahrain at 21 plus 2,000, and then the real outsider of the group, Congo at 101 plus 10,000. I'll just say Denmark is not losing this group.
No, I don't think they are. I mean, one of my biggest favorites at this World Cup, Denmark. I saw them against Norway. They played them twice before the World Cup, and they looked okay, I would say. But still, they're missing one of their best players in Rasmus Lauge, which is a superstar. But still, they have players like Mikkel Hansen, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper for many years now, Niklas Landin. So I think we will see a Danish team that will manage to come and fight for medals this time as well.
Sure. Argentina seen as the second choice. Bahrain not far behind. One could then look at Argentina and Bahrain going through, but their battle in the preliminary stage to take some points to the main round.
Yeah, I mean, Argentina has improved a lot lately. Actually, they have many quality players that like Simone. Most of them are playing in Spanish, French teams, so it's an interesting team actually, and I think they can surprise. And if they do get second in this group, they can actually fight for a quarterfinal place with Qatar and Croatia. So it's going to be interesting. But I see them as the best team behind Denmark.
Yeah. And Bahrain, actually, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they at the Asian Championships play real well? I have to do some homework on there, but I'm pretty sure that they really surprised at the last Asian Championships. Maybe they can keep that those good things going for them.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I think they've been in the final in 2018 and 16, I think. And last time they came third in the Asian Championship. So it's a decent team, which I've actually seen live a couple of times when they played Croatia. But I still think Argentina has more quality in both ends. So I think Argentina will manage through with 2 points.
Yeah, just real quick. They lost to Japan in the third place match, 27-26, and they lost to Qatar 28-24 in the semifinals. But the other thing was Olympic qualification. Let me take a look at that real quick. Just a second here. 2020 Olympics. I want to say they had like a real shock performance. But let me go back here real quick. Yeah, they've qualified for the Olympics. You know, they beat South Korea 34-29, and they beat Qatar in the semifinals 28-26. And they haven't bought their team. I think that they've done it in-house. So that's kind of really interesting for them to have done that. So yeah, I don't know if they've been playing regularly domestically. You know, it's sometimes everybody seems to have a European focus. The handball is only played in Europe. You know, based on that, you know, maybe they are somebody that could surprise in the main round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen them a couple of times. They have a physically team, and I mean, they're going to play Qatar again, and I'm not sure. I think Qatar is not the same, has not the same quality as they did the couple of previous years. So I think they can actually surprise them. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's take a closer look at main group 2 then. We've already talked about the teams a bit, but again, Denmark and Croatia both seen as the top 2 teams there. Boy, it's hard not for me to see them not going through. It seems fairly clear cut to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think this is one of the maybe easiest main rounds for the big teams. Denmark, they have so much quality. Even if they rest Mikkel Hansen for almost all of the matches, they should still get through. So, and the same goes for Croatia. If they win against Qatar, I don't see how they are going to lose against a team like Argentina. Even though they have some good players, I don't think they will lose that match.
And I think it really becomes you have to, you know, Denmark and or Croatia, they'd have to slip up twice. I mean, you can have one screw up, and you know, that's surprising. But usually you can kind of recover from that, unless Qatar or Argentina run the slate, you know, run the table with their other matches, maybe losing to Denmark but beating everybody else. I mean, that's possible, but you know, chances are that one of the lesser teams might have a loss too that they can overcome. But you know, we'll see. But I agree with you. I think that group is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Group E.
Group E. Let's see.
All right, we got Norway, France, Austria, and the United States. Norway and France are they're kind of seen as co-favorites. Norway's given a little bit of an edge. They're at minus 155, 1.65. France is at plus 115, 2.15. And then Austria is at 41, and the USA is at 151. pretty much a given here. I think that Norway and France are the two teams that will battle for first, and I guess that's the first match of the tournament for both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Norway has shown the last couple of years a huge improvement. Played the last two World Cup finals, lost both times to the host, actually, against France in 2017 and Denmark in 2019. So I think Norway are really hungry to succeed this time. They looked sharp against Denmark, and I see them as the biggest favorite at the World Cup and also in the Group E.
All right. Well, yeah, if you see them as winning the tournament, I would see them as the big favorites in Group E as well. And I think they are playing well. They got their superstar Sander Sigurdsson is, he's still pretty young and fresh and playing all of the games you do in a World Championship. It's good to have a star player ready to go like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's shown what he's capable of in the young age, and they're actually missing one important player in Magnus Rød on the right back, but they still have two really good players in that position. So I don't think that's going to be that crucial for them. But the biggest question for me with Norway is the goalkeeper, because Bergerud hasn't been that great for Norway, but still he needs to maybe play a bit better if they're gonna go all the way.
Yeah, that maybe not here in the preliminary round, but boy, you get to the semifinals and finals, you need your goalkeeper to step up.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's go on a little bit of a diatribe about France. Did you happen to see either of their matches versus Serbia this weekend?
Yeah, I did. I did watch them in the away match against Serbia in Belgrade. I think they played, and I must say I got a bit shocked when I saw them. They didn't play very well. I mean, they're missing Nikola Karabatic, but still, it's still a really good team. So I'm a bit surprised because they have so many good players, but maybe they're not. I don't know. It's a World Cup coming up. Maybe they haven't been much motivated. Could that be a reason? I'm not sure.
To me, they're wow. I mean, you look at on paper and the players they have. My goodness, they should have no problem taking care of Serbia.
Yeah, I totally agree, and the bookmakers did as well, because they thought they're gonna win like with 5, 7, 8 goals against Serbia in both matches. So it's a really big surprise that they only managed to get 1 point out of these two matches against Serbia. So
yeah, I was really surprised. They lost by 3 to Serbia, and then they had to fight for a draw, against Serbia at home, and. There's another guy on Twitter. He goes by Sharp Action. He played professionally. If not, then I asked him what was going on, and he seemed a little distraught and really disappointed with them. But in his mind, he thinks that the big key is that they really lack a center back who, maybe. We can talk about Ivano Balic earlier, or maybe like the young, Luke Steins with the Netherlands, who's playing for Paris. But he feels like they need a center back that can help them pick up the pace and play better. And there's a lot of logic to that when you look at the talent on that team, but yet they're losing to a team like Serbia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will also say they have a little bit of a problem defensively with the goalkeeper, because I don't think Vincent Gerard is a goalkeeper for a team like this or like Paris, for instance. But what I've heard, Paris is also looking for a new goalkeeper. So I think also the problem is in the defense. But I totally agree with you, John. They do need a better player in the center.
Yeah,
in the center of their game. So,
and you know, it's hard to say if you're not actually part of a team. But I think not having Karabatic there, even though he's getting a little bit older, I think there seems to be perhaps a leadership issue. And I'm kind of like looking for somebody to take charge and get everybody on the same page and moving like that, both on the offensive end and, as you suggest, on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. So it's going to be interesting to see because, as we both agree, we look at Norway as the best team, and if they actually become second in their main group, they're going to have a tough match against Spain. So yeah, I actually think France is going to be one of the biggest disappointments this championship.
Well, it's certainly not hard to see how that could happen based on what happened last year at the European Championships.
Yeah,
with them going home early. They got the new coach. Some disappointing results here in the European Championships, but maybe that's maybe that's like too obvious. Maybe this talent will shine and they'll move through. Let's look at the lower part of the table for that group. Austria and the United States. I can't help but look at that first match versus Austria. I've been waiting a long time for the U.S. playing a world championship. What you tell me? Some guy from Norway. What's your perspective on?
I mean, you must help me with the American team. You know them much better than me. But again, Austria missing two of their best shooters in Bilic and Bozovic. So I think that's a really big advantage for the American team, and I don't know. I don't think they can beat them, but I still think they can manage to play much more even than if they played. So I'm not sure, but I think a handicap of 10 plus. Was it 10?
I've seen 10.5 and 9.5.
10.5, yeah. I don't know.
Well, I tell you, I watched the Austria-Germany games this weekend, and when I saw that first half of the last game, where I think they went 15 minutes with just one goal, and the halftime ended up being 19-5. And I posted on Twitter. I said that sometimes the question is not whether to take the 10.5 points; it's whether to bet on the money line. It was funny. Sakomal, I think he's from Slovenia. He tweeted in response, "Please do not bet on the U.S. Better to send your money to charity," which I thought was a pretty snappy comeback. And that's where what happens to me is you get emotionally tied to your native country and your team, and you're just looking for anything to give you hope, to see what you want to see, if you will. And I've kind of caught myself a little bit. I have no illusions whatsoever against Norway and France. I think it would take positive COVID tests for all of their goalkeepers and and Luka Karabatic being in the goal. And even then, I don't think the U.S. would have a really good chance against France. But I look at the Austrian team, and I maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but I don't see it as a 20-1 prospect for the U.S. to beat Austria. Like, they play 29 times and the U.S. wins one. I see it as more of a 1 in 10 chance. And
No, I agree with you. I mean, I'm mostly interested if the American team can play with a lot of discipline throughout the 60 minutes, because if they do, it's going to be a interesting match. But if they don't, I think Austria can score many easy goals, and they're really dangerous at the wings. So, and their counterattack is good. So I'm not sure, but I think it depends a lot on what Hedin is going to do tactically against Austria. So I hope they're going to use a lot of time in their attack and just try to keep the tempo a little bit low.
Yes, I think that's key. And I have no illusions. A team that hasn't really played that much together recently, turnovers, fast breaks, it could go off the rails and they could get clobbered. That could happen. But to me, the key will be what kind of defense we can play. I've watched the Hooter brothers play for Dormagen several times this year. They're both good defenders. Drew Donlin with Lyon is a good defender. And then Domagoy Sursen, he hasn't been playing this year, but he used to play for Hanover. He's a good defender. And if they can become a good wall at 6 meters, and with Austria missing their, Billick and the other guy, I think they can give them some real problems. I get a little concerned with the quality. Weber and Frimmel are both great wings. It'll be interesting to see how our keepers can do against them. But regardless, I'm really excited about getting a chance to see them play and see them on TV. I'm hoping it's the start for bigger and better things to come.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Well, let's combine those two groups and take a look now at main round Group 3. And again, here it shows. Oh, wait a second! I skipped.
Yeah, I think
I was so excited I skipped Group F. Let's talk about Group F, because that's interesting too. Here we have Portugal at 1.55. They're a favorite. I would say they're a little bit of a co-favorite with Iceland, which is 2.3. In American odds, that's minus 182 for Portugal and plus 130 for Iceland. They're seen as the two favorites. And then we got Algeria and Morocco. We'll have a North African battle, I suspect, for the third place in the group. But interestingly enough, Portugal and Iceland played each other twice very recently here with Euro qualifiers. Portugal won the first match in Portugal 26-24, and then Iceland won the second one 32-23. But this was after the score was, Portugal was leading 12-13 at halftime, and then Iceland won 32-23. What the hell? I mean,
I don't know. I know they played with the 7 in their attack, and I think they made a lot of mistakes, and then Iceland just took the advantage of it. So, but still, I think Portugal has a better team. They have a lot of quality, actually. Last year they surprised France, They beat them in
The
at the
preliminary
Euros.
group. Yep.
Yeah. So I think Portugal has a good team, and we also must not forget that Iceland is missing their best player. So in Palmarsson, so that's a big blow for them, and I think we're going to see a bit of a better team and better match from Portugal against Iceland in their third match.
So you would just basically throw out that 32-23 game.
Yeah, I would.
It's just a crazy result, that sometimes happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes if things doesn't go the way you plan, and I mean, Portugal will make it to the Euros anyways. So I think they just I think when their next matches, they've already forgotten about this one.
Yeah. Let's go off on a little bit of a tangent and talk about the 7 versus 6 strategy and how that can just like totally mess up a handball better. In terms of a point spread, you think, my team's hanging tough and looks like they're going to cover that handicap betting line. But then the coach decides to pull out the old 7-6 strategy, and boom, a 4 or 5 goal loss becomes a 10, 11 goal loss. Has that happened to you? Is that something that frustrates you? What's your perspective on 7 versus 6 and what it does to betting in particular?
Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I still understand why teams are using it when they have a man when they get a 2-minute suspension or whatsoever. But still, I mean, when you look at the odds, when a team plays with 7 against 6, I would say it's an advantage to play the overline, like over 52.5 goals or whatsoever, because I think when a team plays like that, we see more goals.
Oh, for sure.
In both ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess is that something that you look for? Or do you like say, look at the Portugal-Iceland match and say like, I think they might go 7 versus 6 again. This might be a real smart overbet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's also advantage when you watch a game live. If you see things like that, it's a advantage actually. So something to keep in mind when you're betting actually.
Yeah, or you think that possibility might a coach might make that decision, and they haven't made that decision yet. And if you're betting live and you see that the spread is, like going, I think so-and-so is going to put the old 7-6 in here in a few minutes. It's time to get that over bet in before that coaching decision is actually made.
Yeah. So it's many ways to look at it, but yeah, we'll see. But I wouldn't get surprised if they play a lot 7 against 6 at this World Cup as well. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. So let's look at main round Group 3 now. And as I started to talk about earlier, Norway and France are seen as the big favorites, with Portugal and Iceland as the outsiders, if you will. What do you think of main round Group 3 once those teams join up?
Yeah, I mean, Norway, for me, they're the biggest favorite in this main group. With the main group win, I think they will play the weaker team in the group AB. And yeah, I think the match between France and Portugal is going to be the decided one for them, who's going to manage through to the quarterfinals, because I think Portugal is gonna beat Iceland. So I think the match between France and Portugal is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
But still,
What about Portugal? They're as a basically a 9-1 outsider of pulling off a main round Group 3 win. Seems counterintuitive after this match against Iceland this past weekend, but would that shock you?
Yeah, it would, because I think Norway is just, in my opinion, they're just too good. But still, I saw them against Norway last Euros when they played in Norway, actually, in Trondheim. And yeah, they played like maybe 40 decent minutes, but still, you need to play on your top level against top teams for all 60 minutes. So
Yeah.
So I don't think they have the quality to beat Norway at this World Cup.
Yeah. What about with France and the big question marks that you have regarding them? If you don't think that they're a real player here, then that 1.65 with Norway, that might be a pretty good bet for them to win that group.
Yeah, it's decent, but when you look at the odds between Norway and France in their upcoming match, it's actually better than the odds you get on the main group winner. So, and if you look at it, Norway probably needs to beat France. It might be enough with a draw, but still, I think it's better to actually play Norway against France in their upcoming match on Thursday. I think
And the last
or Friday.
Yeah, they'll play on Thursday. The last I checked, it was just Norway as just a slight favorite to win.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
you're right. It's much better odds than this. And yeah, if you think Norway's going to win the group, just bet big on Norway to win their first game against France.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I wonder if the odds on that have changed any. I'll even see if you can pull it up here, or you can pull it up on your.
Let's see.
You pull it up on your screen
Yeah.
while I get ready for to talk about the next Group G. What is the odds on that France-Norway match? And that's really one of the best early matches of the tournament. At least
for sure. It's
in my
actually
book.
180, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that's well, on paper, maybe France will wake up. We'll definitely get to see that pretty soon.
Yeah.
Let's take a look now at Group G. We've got well, there was actually a little controversy. People didn't like how Egypt got to pick their group. They certainly picked perhaps the easiest one. Their favorite at 1.65 minus 155, and Sweden is the second team at 2.35 plus 135, and then you've got the Czech Republic at 10-1 and Chile at 100-1. Well, my goodness, I've heard saw where the Czech Republic, they're worried about whether they're going to be able to send a team with positive COVID cases. Have you heard about anything recently about that?
No, I have the same information as you, John. Heard that I think it's the 10 players that are positive, I think. And I've also read that if they can't manage to compete, Macedonia will take their place.
Interesting.
So that's going to be interesting.
You know what? And let's go on a bit of a tangent here to talk about COVID and its potential impact for for any of these games, for the entire tournament as a whole. And I guess from my perspective, if you think a team is a little bit of an outsider, maybe they could just stay healthy and run into, I don't know, a positive COVID outbreak with Norway. I mean, what if Sanders Sagosen tests positive? All of a sudden, a flyer, if you will, on a long shot Portugal bet looks a whole lot better. And some things like that could happen in this tournament. What's your perspective on COVID being such a wild card that we could see some crazy things happen?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I've watched the women's championship last month in Denmark, and as every championship, I have a lot of bets before it even starts. So I was a bit worried, I must say, because you never know what will happen throughout the next couple of days. But Denmark managed the bubble really well, and as long as they get into this bubble, I think we're good. But you never know. It's a big country. It's in Cairo, there, I don't know, they're living like 10 million people there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But I think we're going to be without the COVID cases as we did last month in Denmark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be a big difference if it did happen. They dodged some bullets, I think, if you will, at the women's championship. Everybody looked a little bit like there was going to be some issues with the Serbian team and they had to delay a game. But once everybody got into the bubble and they resolved the positive tests entering, it pretty much held true to form. Nobody, there wasn't any games canceled or a team that had to leave or any big players missing. So
yeah, for sure. And but in my opinion, when you're having a big event like this, I think all the teams should have come to Egypt like 10 days before the start. But again, I'm not the president.
Yeah,
it's Hassan Mustafa.
Well, that's an interesting that's an interesting point. And one of the things I know, especially for the U.S., and I know people think, I know we are a wealthy country, but we are not a wealthy handball federation. And I think the cost for staying an extra night in Egypt was huge. The hotels there aren't cheap. Several $1,000s, and if you do that for 10 days, that would eat up some of these teams' budget. I mean, I guess the IHF could have come through and said, hey, everybody needs to show up a week, 10 days ahead of time and, get tested, and then we'll have time to essentially have a quarantine preparation, if you will.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, that decision wasn't made. I guess there's going to be no fans. So we're going to move on to talk about Egypt. That big home crowd advantage won't be there. It'll be nice being in their own familiar country, but they're still in a group, I think, where they can win. We've got them facing off against a Sweden team that's kind of in a rebuilding phase, if you will. What's your perspective on Egypt and Sweden in that group?
No, I mean, Egypt looks like an interesting team. As you said, they're not going to have the same advantage as they did a couple of days ago when they first said that we're going to see the championship with the crowd. But still, I think they have a good enough team to win the group because, again, Sweden is missing a lot of players due different reasons, injuries, COVID, and everything. So they're missing many good players. So I think Egypt has a big advantage because of that.
Yeah,
And yeah, the Czech.
I agree. I think they're well placed to win that group. I think Sweden is the obvious second team. Czech Republic, who knows what team they're going to have. Chile seems like a little bit. I think they're better than what the odds that they're giving them there. I don't know how healthy. I don't know how healthy they are, but I certainly see them as closer to the Czech Republic than they're currently listed. On a good day, they could beat either Egypt or Sweden. It might seem like a stretch, but they've got a lot of players playing in Europe now.
For sure. And but again, let's see what they will be playing with, because as we know, they have 10 players that have tested positive. So it's going to be interesting to see who they actually are.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Czech Republic though, right?
Yeah, Czech Republic. Yeah.
I'm actually talking about Chile. I'm saying
Chile. Okay.
I'm saying Chile. 100-1. I think that's a little bit high, and no crowd now. I just think obviously I think they're the fourth best team, but I don't see them as that far behind these teams. They beat Austria a couple of years ago. Now, granted, Austria isn't Sweden, but that Sweden team's missing some folks. It's not that far from it. So, I'm just saying that I think they deserve a little bit more respect than they're being shown right now by the odds makers.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see the handicap on Chile against Czech Republic. Actually, that's maybe a bet to keep in mind.
All right. Well, let's look at the last group. We've got Slovenia as the big favorite. They're at minus 335, 1.30. And then we got Belarus and Russia as the teams that apparently will be battling for second place. And then we got South Korea. They're listed at plus 3,031 or 30-1 odds. Another guy, he actually we did a little experiment during the European Championships last year. He goes by Sakamal is his Twitter handle. He had a phenomenal percentage picking games and prop bets during the European Championships last year. I only know him through Twitter, but I have a lot of respect for his prognostication skills as a handball bettor. He is really, he's Slovenian, but he is really down with the Slovenian team. He says, hey, we're healthy. We've been playing well. He's really optimistic about their chances, and with the group that they've been placed in the main round group that they have. What's your take on Slovenia and the other teams in this group?
No, I mean, in my opinion, Slovenia is actually a dark horse. Every championship, they have a great team, great group, going in the main group. They're playing against Egypt and Sweden, so I think they have a really good chance. And in my opinion, they're favorites in the group H, and I don't think we should.
Well, if you want to jump ahead, they are favored in the main round.
Sorry, I think my mic just.
You broke out a little bit, but I still was able to hear you. They are favored in the main round group as well, just slightly ahead of Egypt and Sweden. If we want to, let's let's talk a little bit about Belarus, Russia, and South Korea. I think, again, I think South Korea might be a little bit underestimated here. They're always a big question mark, but they could be in fighting form. I know that COVID hasn't impacted South Korea as much as some other countries, but Belarus and Russia are seen as better sides. Who do you think will come out of this group to join Slovenia?
No, I mean Belarus, in my opinion, they're the second best team in this group. They have many quality players playing with a lot of speed in their offense. Their big problem is the defense. They are not I don't know, but I think they concede like 30 plus goals every match against better teams. So yeah, so that's a bit of a negative thing for them. But I still think they have enough quality to beat Russia and South Korea, and maybe also make it a close one against Slovenia. But we'll see.
Interesting. Well, let's move on to the last main round group. And let's see here. Where are we? There we go. Again, Slovenia is at 2.5, Egypt 2.65, Sweden at 3.20. As you alluded to, this will be a very interesting group as to who will come through with a three-way battle, I guess, there between Slovenia, Egypt, and Sweden.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Slovenia, for me, they are the favorites, and now when Egypt will also without their crowd, I don't know. I think Slovenia will take the first spot. I have too many questions regarding the Swedish team without many of their biggest stars. So I don't know. I think Slovenia will have the first spot, and yeah, the host team the second, maybe.
Well, it's kind of hard to believe that Egypt and the IHF president being from Egypt, I'm not saying conspiracy theories here, but
I know what you mean.
It'd be hard to believe that Egypt would not make it to the quarterfinals. I would suspect that people really talking about conspiracy theories that not conspiracy theories, but they've done everything I think they can to get Egypt into a semifinal. I'm not going to bet against that happening.
No, I totally agree with you. I don't think we should forget Qatar when they played home at their World Cup.
Yeah. that was something else, and that definitely created a lot of controversy. That it was felt that they were given a little bit extra push there, especially against Poland in that match that they played. Well, let's move on. I think we did a good breakdown of groups. You got some time? You want to talk a little bit about who you think's going to win?
Yeah, I'm going to say Norway for the first time.
All right.
I think. The reason for that is they have shown the last couple of years that they are in the top, and they also get the experience. They maybe missed the last couple of finals, and as I said, Denmark is missing some really important players. France as well. Croatia also having some injury problems. So I don't know. I think Norway has a really good chance this time.
Yeah, I also like Norway. I guess looking at these odds, I think one of the things I really like here is Well, everybody's getting decent odds, a decent return, if you will, in terms of winning. Denmark is 4.0, Norway is 4.35, Spain 5.0, France 7, Croatia 9. Because it's seen as nobody is a super clear favorite. If you think somebody's going to win here, you're going to get a decent return for predicting the winner.
Yeah, you do for sure. I mean, when you look at the list, there are like 7-8 teams who can win, but I still think the top, let's say 4 or 5 teams are in my opinion the ones to win this gold medal at the end.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should make some sort of prediction here since we're talking about betting and stuff. Let's just say I'm going to stay away from France. And I also like Norway. But Croatia, I might take a flyer on Croatia doing well at this tournament. I really like Duvnjak and the leadership role he's taken over on that team. And when they play defense, damn, they play some great defense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. That's also a team I would say should make it to the semifinals, and after that everything can happen. But I hope for Croatia that they will get their center back in Karacic, who has been dealing with some injuries, and the question is also regards Duvnjak, because he's had the COVID 3-4 weeks ago, and he told a newspaper in Croatia that he wasn't feeling 100% fit.
Well, that explains it, because I watched Croatia and Spain play, and I was like going, why the hell isn't Duvnjak out there? And he played some in the second half, and I thought he did, didn't he?
He did. But I don't know if you watched the Final Four in the Champions League.
Yeah, you're right. That's where he didn't play much either.
That's right. So he played maybe like 20 minutes. He did a great job defensively in the finals, but he didn't score a goal. So it's something with him that is missing. I think he needs some time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're bringing back a memory. I was just about ready to message somebody during the Final Four. I'm like, why in the hell isn't Duvnjak playing?
Yeah.
Okay. This all makes much more sense now. Yeah, I was like and Kiel's still doing good. So, I guess that, maybe he'll get the antibodies rocking and rolling and lead Croatia to a title. Last thing, who's your dark horse?
In my opinion, when we look at their way to the semifinals, I would actually say Slovenia. They have a great chance to get to the quarterfinals, and after that they will cross with probably Croatia or Denmark, which is a tough match, of course, but still Denmark are missing some players, Croatia probably as well, so they have a chance there. And if they get through, they will play against maybe against Egypt or Sweden. So who knows? I mean, they have a good chance to play for a medal. So.
Well, it looks like you've already looked ahead a little bit. I was going to say my dark horse is Egypt.
Yeah.
I guess my question is who does Egypt end up playing likely in a quarterfinal match?
It depends, but if they become second, and let's say Denmark wins their main group, they will cross with Denmark.
Well, let's say Egypt wins that group with some controversial calls at the end to beat Slovenia. Who do they end up playing then?
Probably Croatia.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
And then Croatia will get some positive tests, and it'll be a depleted Croatia team. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying anything can happen in these tournaments.
Definitely.
Any other bets or anything else that you're looking for in this tournament?
Yeah, it is actually. I was actually placing a bet a couple of hours ago, because of Norway. I also think Sander Sagosen is going to be one of the most important players on the team. So I think if they get to the finals, that he also might be the MVP of the tournament.
Yeah, so I mean, it's usually the case that the team that wins it all gets the MVP. You're thinking he could even get the MVP if Norway loses in the final.
Yeah, I think so. It happened last year actually, when Croatia lost the final against Spain, and that year Dulnjak won the MVP. So it's a chance for that.
Well, let's I think we can actually go down there and check out the MVP, can't we? There we go, MVP of the tournament. So they got Sagosen at 3.85. So what the heck? Dushabayev at 6.0? I don't know. I guess it could happen.
Yeah, it could, but I agree with you. I'm not that sure.
All right. Well, Toma, thanks for your picks and your time. It was great chatting with you about the tournament. We'll be looking at the odds, at least on my website, and on your website, we'll be looking at the odds during the tournament. And maybe we'll share some more picks online, if you will, going into
for sure.
into the tournament.
So thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, one moment here. Let's see if I can figure out how to stop things here. All right. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Anyway, for Toma, I'm John Ryan, and you've been listening to the Team Handball News podcast. Don't forget to sign up online and subscribe, and check out all the other great podcasts that we have going all the way back to 2006. Thanks for listening.